So, Factorio, it's really hard to find the words to describe our playthrough. I'd start by talking about the resources and the planning. Then maybe we'll meander into something about some of the factories and meander into some of the enemies and the resources.
I just think that if we can focus on the resources that are available to us in the immediate area and on our rail network, we can start building factories with appropriate output ratios for like what we have on hand.
Yeah, but then I could just go wandering into the forest and just kind of like look around a bit. You know, we don't want to like be too. We don't want to be too gung ho on this. We don't want to get started straight away. We just want to let's just take our time.
This is Factorio. We can do this much more efficiently. Crash land, factories, build, resources.
Factory, grow, good.
Brain, resources, transport.
Enemies, kill, escape, DLC.
This episode contains spoilers for Factorio.
Welcome back to Game Club Pod. Tim, get off of Tekken.
No, bad. Spray,
Bad,
bad.
Tim. Bad. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm good.
Very well, thank you. How are you, Alex? We've been sat here for ages and completely unaware as Alex started recording. This used to be my old trick.
You say completely
learned from
unaware.
the
Did you not hear the beding?
Well, the problem is on this software that we use, it says now recording. But the way we used to do it, it just went 3, 2, 1 ping. So if someone wasn't looking at the screen, it would start recording.
Yeah.
Or was that back in the good old Zencaster days?
Back in the days where Zencaster were free.
The gold rush.
Yeah, back when it were free, not in these days, though. It's harder times now.
No, now everything's a subscription. Everything in the world's a subscription. You got to subscribe to breathe.
Listen, kids. Back in my day, we used to be able to record podcasts online for nothing.
What a time to be alive.
Did we?
Yeah. Zencaster was free. Could have gone to an internet cafe if you wanted a really high quality podcast.
Oh, there's nothing you want more than listening to a podcast where all you can hear in the background is, oh, I'll have a thing, please.
And then the strange old man next to you is looking at some incredibly inappropriate photos.
We're calling the show Shrimp on the Street.
Shrimp on the Barbie. It's all about Alex watching the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it.
If that isn't a special for Game Club Pod, I don't know what is.
There you go. That's perfect.
I've never seen it.
It's amazing.
The new one is brilliant, Alex.
Do
you want to hear? Do you want to hear a snippet of it?
No, let's not do this.
Do you want to hear a snippet?
No, this takes forever.
Doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number 2. No one knows how hard I tried. I have feelings that I can't explain, driving me insane. All my life been so polite, but I'll sleep alone tonight. 'Cause I'm just
Tim.
Anywhere else I'd be taken. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I'm just
Tim.
Where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the tent and fight for me?
There you go. There's a snippet of the Barbie movie for you.
Just to date the recording of this episode, I was listening to the first episode of Two Blokes new season, I'd
Yeah.
completely forgotten about the edits. I was just walking to work and that song started playing. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this song. And then it just went, Tim. I nearly
that
wet myself in public.
that came to me about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I cried laughing making it. It's as funny now as it was then.
I can see that.
Your
My
poor wife in the
poor
other room, you're there just going,
Well, do you know, I actually think I thought it up in bed, and I thought I laughed to myself in bed thinking about Tim as Ryan Gosling.
When's he going to become Ryan Goose?
You often
Well-
lie in bed thinking about Tim as Ryan Gosling.
I often lie in bed thinking about Josh and Dan as Ryan Gosling. I have told you about when I had a dream about Dan and Josh, right?
No.
I was listening because when I go to sleep, I have there's somewhere on my desk, but my desk is quite messy. These over-ear headphones that are really comfy at night. The sound quality is shit, but they're quite comfy to wear. And I like to sleep with some noise on, so I sometimes put podcasts on. And every now and then it'll cycle through my podcast subscription. And I had a dream that I met up with Dan from Casting Views. You should listen to Casting Views. And Josh from Talking Smack. You should listen to Talking Smack. And we went out and we hung out and had fun. And the reason I dreamt about them is because when I woke up, I was listening to Josh's Mind Wipe episode that was on Casting Views.
Ah,
And then
There
he
you go.
forgot all about it.
And then I dreamt about them every night since.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Joey's fascination with other podcasts that definitely doesn't come across as an insult to me and Tim.
might be a bit weird if he dreamed about me, to be fair.
Oh, God. We're here to talk about a video game. We're here to talk about Factorio. But, as always, we're going to start with a big brain question, get the juices going.
Oh,
So,
My
Joey?
juices are already going. I've been thinking about Dan and Josh.
okay.
I've got some editing to do, I think.
Yeah.
Some sound bites to put out into the internet. Guys, if you could reinvent one everyday item, like a chair or a pen, what would it be and what would it do differently?
The cling film dispenser, and it would fucking work.
Wow,
Oh, that
was
you were
fast.
immediate on that.
I hate cling film with a goddamn passion.
I would reinvent the simple food processor so that I could put water in it and then drop bread in and make it spin really quickly.
Mhm.
Loads of wet bread all the time. Like bread soup is what I want. That's
Okay.
what I want.
and Tim won't be able to store it properly because he can't work his cling film.
Exactly. So Tim will take the wet bread, all of those slices of bread that have been
I will leave
floating
this
in water.
All.
For those of you who don't know, mention of wet bread makes Tim physically gag. So every now and then, if it comes across on TikTok, any kind of thing with a sandwich or water, I'll send it to Tim and it will make him feel physically sick and delete it.
See, I send Tim nice things. I send him spinning TikToks.
I do like spinning TikTok.
Shall I
Oh, I
stop?
feel a little bit
Tim?
sick, actually, now.
See, cling film isn't a problem for me. It's parchment paper that's a bastard.
How do you fuck up parchment paper? It's non-stick.
No, but like tearing it in the packet.
You take it out of the packet first.
Jesus Christ, we have some interesting conversations on this podcast, don't we?
I mean,
We're here to talk
you
about
What's
video
worse,
games.
cling
We
film or
normally-
paper?
We normally talk about video games at the start, but you've gone with like, Tim, how can you use cling film? And for me, Joey, how do you store your piles of wet bread?
I knew it was coming. I'm still never prepared.
There you go. That's what we do. Alex, how do you feel about your question? Do you wish you'd asked a different one?
Yeah. I wish I'd spent a bit more time looking for a better question than wet bread and cling film.
I would reinvent my taps so that they had hot, cold, and then Dr. Pepper. That
That's
would be my
sweet.
invention.
That'd be pretty good.
Ah, he's drinking a Dr. Pepper right now.
It's got to be the zero Dr Pepper, the sugar-free
No,
stuff.
the zero one's disgusting.
I like I like
prefer
both.
Fucking Mr. Neutral over here.
I like the zero stuff for everything. Like, we only have Pepsi Max. I don't really like Diet Coke. I don't really like Coke, to be honest.
I don't like
Unless-
diet stuff, but the zero stuff's nice.
Unless it's from Mackey's. Diet Coke from Mackey's is banging.
That's probably because you're getting full fat Coke.
Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper Zero is disgusting.
Nah, you're wrong.
I'm so right. Sprite Zero is good. Oof. The sting in the back of your throat as you...
I want to try and do the thing where you drink an entire bottle of Sprite without burping.
I want to do the thing where I get you to drink a full 2-litre bottle of lemonade without burping.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, you know the thing that makes most people vomit?
Yeah, it's fine. I can do it.
I have this long-running thing. Sorry, Alex, we're really derailing this episode. I really, really want, and I will do it one day. It's not going to be a surprise anymore. For Two Blokes from Blighty, I really want to send you, Tim, some. Have you ever seen the ammonia smelling salts?
Yes.
Have you ever seen when because strongmen, the world's strongest man, and that they use it to release adrenaline throughout the body so they can lift heavier shit, but it apparently knocks you out. Just sniffing it is vile. And I really want to send it to you and make you do it on.
Is that not a
on
form
pod.
of doping?
No, they sell it at Jenny's gym.
No, no, but I mean, like, on a competitive scale, surely that's the same as doping.
No, because it's doing is getting your body to release things that it naturally releases. So I'm gonna get one day. I'm gonna get Tim to do smelling salts on live on Two Blokes from Blighty.
We'll see how that goes.
And Tim will be just so roided up that it'll lift his desk off of the floor.
I'm pretty sure I'll be missing a wall when I'm done, as will the neighbours.
And what? No, all you've done is lost a wall but gained a roommate.
Gained a whole house.
There you go. Sorry, Alex. I'll stop now.
No, it's quite okay. We're here to talk about Factorio after all of that. Factorio is a construction and management simulator game developed by a Czech studio called Woob, or Woob.
Woob, like a cube.
Woob like a
Woob,
cube,
woob.
yes, not Woob like a dub.
Wob like Rusko.
So this was actually a success story from an Indiegogo campaign back in 2013 where they made, I think they made like $3,000 over their goal. So people were invested in this game before it started, which is not a surprise considering how it is like crack. It's a nice simple gameplay loop. You find resources, you build machines, you get more resources, you build better machines until you get to the end of the game. And there's not really much of a story to this game. It is very much a sandboxing, but it's basically you're a little engineer, you're dumped on a foreign planet, and you've got to build a rocket to get back off the planet. Nice and simple. We're going to go to immediate thoughts. Joey, redeem yourself.
Factorio is fun. It is very, very, very easy to get a hang of. It's very, very, very hard to master. I found that it's really interesting. I've played a few hours by myself, but my main gameplay has been alongside the two gentlemen that are in the room with me. The virtual room. There's no one in my room with me.
They are men with lab coats.
Ooh, I don't see them. Is that bad for me? Anyway, I think it's interesting that the three of us had such different play styles of the game for a very, very similar outcome, which I think lends itself to this game being really accessible to a really wide group of people. I like to make my factories as wiggly and compact as possible. Alex likes to be sensible and do his nice spread out to a central point, and Tim likes to min-max the game by making everything with blueprints and grids, which, you know, is a really valid way to play. Just doesn't suit my style. So, yeah, I liked that it was easy and accessible. I liked that it was multiplayer straight off the bat. I like that there's a mod menu within it, which makes it very interesting. What I didn't find particularly easy is when we went into multiplayer, I often felt like a spare part until we started playing against each other. And that's no fault of anyone's or the game's, but I didn't understand the game like other people did, and it took me a long time to get up to speed. And even when I was up to speed at my point, I felt that other players in the game were much further along. So, for example, Tim was really dying to get a railway system going, which is one of the main points of the game. So you can collect resources from like really far. but it blew my mind that he'd even get near that point where I was still trying to get a conveyor belt so I could get coal out the ground and into a chest. So that was kind of my feeling on it. Like, very fun. Maybe play it with people when you all start at the same time, is what I would say. Or go competitive, like we did try.
Yeah, so to Joey's point with that, primarily it is a single player game. It lends itself very well to, you've got it up on one screen and you're watching something on the other screen. It lends itself to that really well. There are scenarios in the game that you can play. There's something with conveyor belts and something with something else that we never actually looked into. The multiplayer was an interesting sort of thing for us because, as Joey said, we started a cooperative, let's all work together for a factory. Tim went with it. Tim went mental and
Tim,
really,
I hope you're not
really,
finding this offensive.
No, not at all.
no.
Good.
Tim was really sort of like, right, I'm gonna do this and we'll get this done. And then it got to a point where me and Joey, I think, both felt the same way of a sort of, well, what do? Let's go dick about in cars and make 10,000-mile long conveyor lines from iron mines.
Exactly.
But then we found that there were competitive scenarios for multiplayer where you're all off in your own little area building your factory, and it's basically, I think, were we doing space race first space, or were we doing competitive kill your friends?
Kill your friends.
Mm-hmm.
We did both.
Which we need to
Yay.
go back to because that was good fun. But yeah, Tim, your immediate thoughts?
This game is my crack. It's wildly addictive. It plays incredibly on basically just about any system, Steam Deck included. And I didn't think this would play very well on the Steam Deck with the keybinds, but it actually works out pretty damn great. I love, as Joey has pointed to, min-maxing stuff in this game, to me, is 100% about optimization. How efficient are your mines? How efficient are your train routes? How efficient are your factories? How efficient are your robots and your power grids and your enemy killing systems? How efficient are your defenses? How efficiently are you getting all your research done in order to go into space? This game, to me, is a logistics puzzle that you create yourself, because there's no, hey, you need to do this. You can approach the game in a myriad of ways, as long as you meet the end goal of build a rocket and launch it into space. That is the end goal, and even after that, you can still carry on playing in your world. That rocket, in terms of your research tree, which we'll get to at some point in the episode, I'm sure, is about halfway through the research tree. There is still lots and lots of stuff to do, and it is entirely up to you how you play it. There is the thing that I'm doing that Joey alluded to earlier with the blueprints and grids is a system that's called city blocks in the community, where essentially you isolate grids of your factory, 100 squares by 100 squares, and those 100 by 100 squares do one thing and one thing only to maximize your output of that particular thing. So if you need a bunch of steel girders, for example, you would dedicate an entire city block just to girders. Or if you need certain types of circuit boards, you have one city block dedicated to that system. If you need a railway network, you may want to establish that through certain city blocks, you can only have train tracks go through them. Otherwise, you stand to lose slots or lose space in that square where your factory could be better built in a different square. There's lots of terrain management. There's enemy management if you're playing in the single player regular game, or even the multiplayer regular game, to be fair. There's different enemies per world, because there's different worlds with different terrains and different challenges. And each world, generally speaking, has a very territorial enemy set in which, for example, if we take I forget what the name of the starter world is called, but there's these enemies called biters that have nests, and the more noise you make, or the bigger your factory, or the more pollution you make, the more likely they are to attack your base. So on top of building this efficient factory in terms of production output, you also need to be mindful of how much pollution you're making, how much noise you're making, how much light you're making, how many trees you're chopping down. It's logistics, the video game, and I love me some logistics puzzles.
Yeah, one thing we didn't mention was it's all grid based. So if you want to have a very symmetrical, very nicely laid out factory, that is well within your wheelhouse. This obviously draws a lot of comparisons to Satisfactory, which is a 3D, more open world, less voxely version of this. And you can snap your factory lines and things like that, but you don't have to. This is all straight lines, and it is very satisfying when you look at your factory and go, yeah, that's a nice straight line.
I like that
That's a
factory.
factory.
That is a nice factory.
That is a
Yeah.
nice factory.
You've played Satisfactory, Tim, haven't you?
Yeah, it's basically 3D Factorio. But
Which one's
for some
better?
reason, I actually prefer regular Factorio to this. I don't know what it is. I find the skill tree and the progression tree in this in Factorio to be just more intuitive. It's more gratifying.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So that skill tree that we keep mentioning, as I said at the start, as you're working through and making new factories and new types of buildings and new resources, you unlock further research that unlocks more stuff. The game holds your hand a little bit at the start where it says, okay, make 50 steel plates, cool. Now you can make a steam factory, make 10 copper plates, cool. Now you can make these better or you can make power lines. And then from there, it just opens up. You start making red resource packs. And you can start just researching whatever you want. So if you wanted to, there's different types of research, and if you wanted to, you could sort of block out all your military stuff at the start. You could block out all of your logistics stuff at the start. After that first initial sort of 10 minutes, it's an open field for you. You can do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah. Did either of you play? Have you played any of the mode? Because when we played it, the three of us, we played it on a peaceful server, so the enemies won't attack you unless you attack them. Have either of you played with the enemies hostile?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
They're a little aggressive for my liking. I'm more in this for the logistics side of things as opposed to the like almost tower defense strategy-esque game portion of this game personally, but I get why people enjoy it.
Well, but I think that's it. I think you've hit the nail on the head. When the enemies are in it, it's a different game. It's not so much of, well, it is obviously still resource management and power management and Tim's logistics simulator, but it is also a tower defense game, and you have to think much more about your placement of your gun turrets or building walls, and it influences your skill tree and what kind of things you investigate sooner. So if there's enemies, I found myself investigating like the military facing stuff rather than stuff geared towards more effective production. And I thought that was a really nice, interesting thing. I am with you. I think the enemies are very, very aggressive, particularly the first 2 or 3 times they attack, because you're not equipped or expecting it, and they absolutely ruined my factory. But I liked that it was like a completely different game.
I suppose it's one big plus to say to this game is the fact that everything is customizable to some degree. So it is actually built with the intention of workshop mods. If you've ever looked at the Steam Workshop for it, there are thousands of mods that add new planets, they change things, they add new enemy types, new factories. But the other thing is, when you're setting up your world to start playing, unless you go in one of the pre-made scenarios, when you're setting up the world to build in, you can make it as hospitable or horrible as you want. You can change the frequency of the resources, you can change how much those resources have, you can change the volume and the aggression of the enemies. It is, once you start figuring out how things work in it, you can start a game to your own specification for your playstyle. So like Tim might play with enemies that are less hostile, but then he might also want less resources to give himself a challenge. Joey might want no hostility but more resources. And I think it's something that a lot of games, especially in these sort of sim management games, a lot of them don't give you that kind of customization for your gameplay. And I think it's just a really good, solid, big plus for this game.
And it's one of those games that I think you can genuinely say. A lot of games say it, but you can genuinely say, no two playthroughs of this game would ever be the same.
No, not at
Ever.
all. I mean, you're gonna find yourself probably building your factories in a very similar manner if you know, if you know how to build stuff and what the general progression tree will, relatively speaking, look like. However, where your resources come from, how you lay out your factory specifically, that's going to be different every single time. And that's what this is part of what I was referring to with the terrain challenge in my initial thoughts, in that there's cliff edges and rivers and lakes and oceans and forests and deserts and lava and all sorts of stuff that you need to be aware of when building your factory. And you need to plan around these things until you can plan for them.
Tim, you'll know the answer to this. Is the other levels in Factorio, are they randomly generated or are they seed based?
They are randomly, well, they are seed based.
Okay, but it's randomly assigned seeds.
Correct. You can manually type in a seed when creating a world if someone's found a particularly cool seed, for example.
Okay.
But essentially on the surface of things, it's a seed generated thing, and that seed is different per map that you play, because there are different types of maps that have different resources and different enemies as well.
Nice. Well, but then that to me says it is a different experience every time, unless you
totally
literally go in and
It's a world of
Like I
infinite
said,
possibilities.
Yeah.
and they're massive worlds as well.
They are absolutely huge. Someone worked out that if you were to start from the spawn point and send a train, the fastest method of transport in this game, from the spawn point to the edge of the map, assuming you hit nothing and you're going in a straight line, it would take you 3.5 hours.
Oof.
It's a big map.
Yeah, that's as long as it would take Tim to drive to Alex.
So it seems. But one thing I wanted to point out about Factorio, and I think Joey mentioned it earlier, or maybe it was Alex, where this is very much a product of a success story on Kickstarter. The community behind this game is insane. Some of the stuff that they come out with, like in terms of their builds or in terms of the systems they're playing it on, like I'm looking at one right now. I'm going to post an image of it in the chat, actually.
Are they playing on a smart fridge?
It's a little bigger than a smart fridge.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
That is a screen that is about the width of an entire room, and it wraps around the middle of the room. So it's like a big circular screen. And the guy's playing Factorio on it because he's going to be able to see a whole bunch of the map at the same time. And I understand that there's some people who really don't like the aesthetic of this game, but given the very clear cyberpunk, or steampunk rather, inspiration behind the machinery, I really dig the aesthetic of this. I think it looks great. It's intricate, it's complicated, it's well thought out, though.
That goes back to something I was saying before. If, as you said, this is something where the aesthetic of it, because it's got sort of, like you say, it's steampunky, but it's very sort of pixel arty, low fidelity kind of thing.
Very retro, doesn't it?
Very retro. That is not going to be everyone's jam, but if you go onto the Steam Workshop, you can probably find a mod that overhauls every single graphic in the game, because again, the community behind this game is insane.
I don't know, Alex, I don't know if it's changed recently, but there isn't a Steam Workshop for Factorio. It's all handled within the game under a mod manager.
I thought there was a workshop for it. I'm sure there is.
No, I've just checked.
Well, no, there is. Oh, you're right. Wow.
Yeah, it's all handled in-game, so as soon as you get in, there's an inbuilt mod launcher.
Ah.
There you go. So it is all there.
Which, even better, really.
We love that.
Can I just say as well, like in terms of community reception and critic reception on this game, I'm looking at the Metacritic page for Factorio, and it's currently got a 90 out of 100 on the review scores for critics, and an 8.9 out of 10 for user ratings. So call it a 90%. I don't want to jump the gun and go to scores because I will happily talk Factorio all day, but 90% seems about right for me.
I wonder what Tim's going to rate this out of 10.
Tim's going to give it a 3.
Do you know? Oh, I'll tell you a story after the pod. It's not worth telling on the pod. I was so angry.
Oh.
So there's one thing, because I was going to mention the scores there. One thing that I did find while I was looking into this, and it's quite surprising, is this game has been nominated for a few awards, and I mean a few, but it has never won one. So, we should say that this game did release in 2018?
2020,
20
August 14th.
No,
August
no.
14th.
2016, sorry.
Oh, I've got...
February 2016 was the full release for Windows.
Oh, did it come to Steam in 2020?
It came to this, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, no. I can't read my own notes because I'm stupid. It went into early access February 2016, and then full release in 2020.
Got it.
And then it came to the Switch in 22.
Yeah, the Switch is a
for
weird
some reason.
choice for this.
Yeah, it's very odd. So, back to awards. It was nominated for, in the Steam Awards 2018, the most fun with a machine, whatever that means.
They've never heard
I think
of
it means
robots.
I think it means robots and vehicles. Yeah,
Sorry,
but
they've
it
never
lost
heard
to
of what?
Automatic driving cars.
What did you actually say?
Sex robots.
Oh, okay, cool.
but it lost to Rocket League, so more sex robots. The National Academy for Video Game Trade Reviewers. It's a hell of a title.
Really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, really. For the Outstanding Simulation Game, but that lost to Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then the 17th British Academy Games Award for the Best Debut Game, but that went to Carrion.
What?
Carrion is a very, very good game, but I would probably give this the award over
I
Carrion.
would have probably given it to Factorio.
Carry On was fun, but it was like... It was
neat.
Very quick.
It was over very quick, and it was a sort of, there you go, you're done.
It's the only game that
Boy,
does
if I had a
done as
penny.
well.
Tim, you'd have 2 pennies.
I would have 2 pennies by the time I'm
It's
done.
just...
Yeah, it's the only game the devs have done, which I'm surprised at. It seems very polished for a single.
But the
game
game is still
studio.
getting updates to this day. It's when did the space expansion come out? For a game about going into space, the space expansion came out very late.
2024, October 24.
Oh, so
Yeah, it was
literally a few
real recent.
I'm recording.
Yeah, I think the space DLC is roughly the same size game again.
Yeah.
It's across 4 different planets, from what I read.
Well, you get
Or
more.
5.
You get more planets in Base Factorio. You get a few planets in Base Factorio anyway, and then this just adds like a few more on top of that.
But it's different resources and machines,
And you can build your own spaceship shapes and all.
It's basically going to be the same game again, but different.
but
Which
bigger.
I kind of want to play it, but yeah, no, I was very surprised to see that this has not won a single award.
I think it deserves. Obviously, I have a bias. I clearly very enjoy this game. It
This
definitely
wins
deserves
the-
some recognition.
The Wembembo Award for fun old
Most
Conveyors.
factory.
For Big
most
Factory.
and many resource reliability.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's
We did
2
all-
Wembembos for you.
That's 2 Wembembo awards.
Welcome to the yearly Wembembos. You've seen them on the billboard, now see them on the big screen.
Are we
Uh,
projecting this in a cinema?
Yeah, why not? We
Yeah.
might as well. So, go on.
I wanted to just quickly mention my favorite thing about this game. And
Is it the factories?
It is the factories, but it's when
the robots, isn't it?
It's not even the robots. It's just that feeling that you get when you've spent ages and ages and ages planning out a unit of your factory, a section of your factory, and you switch it on, and it just works. Like
Yeah.
the system I use for this game uses a thing called a main bus, where essentially you're sending all of your core resources in a straight line down the factory. And then that way you can make things like gears locally if something in your system needs gears, for example. And just seeing you plan this factory and then reroute your iron, for example, to this one thing, and watching that unit of the factory come to life and then watching the output happen just as you expect, some of the most gratifying shit in gaming. It's unbelievably rewarding.
But on the flip side of the same coin, when something breaks, it is when you've started getting really into it and you've got all these different networks and these different channels of resources, and something breaks, it is the most frustrating thing because you're there going, "What the hell is broken? What is not working?" And then you find that your copper cables aren't building, and you're like,
This
"Why?"
is the joy of the city block because everything's dedicated to one thing.
Min-max.
Ooh, I
But
didn't
it's
get to
so
city
easy.
blocks.
It's so easy to break something as well if you play it like Alex and I. If you like rotate one conveyor belt by accident, that's your whole power line, your whole line of assembly ruined.
I had in my main save file at the minute, I've got a couple of train stations in a city block, and all they do is they wait for trains to come in and completely take out all their iron and their copper. That's they've just done a trip to the mines, and they send those things off to smelteries to be turned into iron plates and copper plates. What I didn't realize when I was building the smeltery over the course of about, I don't know, 400 to 600 individual smelteries that all require like different arms to insert materials, is that on every single one of them, one of the arms was backwards. So, so I had to go through and manually fix.
Just watch out saying trip down the mine. You might trigger Alex into PTSD.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I know it's a pastime for him.
When I was a kid, we went down mine both ways, 72 hours with sandwich. Sorry, go on, Tim.
Sorry, just had a moment then.
We were playing. Thank goodness you're here again.
But what this is you build this factory and something hasn't quite gone right, and then you're sat there thinking, why is this not working? What's wrong with it? And then this game is full of those aha moments where you work something out, you fix the problem, and suddenly things just start working. You feel like an engineer solving a problem because that's what you are in this game. You're an engineer.
You become one with the factory.
Honestly, the factory must grow, and so will your brain.
Where did that come from? Because is it said in game?
I think it was used in the marketing at some point when the game was first coming out.
Because when we first started playing this, you just started saying the factory must grow to me, and I was like, "What the hell are you on about?" I mean, I understood it very quickly, and the factory must grow.
It must grow.
But it didn't make much sense at the time. One thing I did want to say, one thing I'm not mad on this game, the music for it is so foreboding.
Well, you have crashed on a foreign planet.
But it's just so full of dread the whole time, even in peaceful mode.
Yeah. Do you want some B-52s playing in the back or something?
Yeah, I want some Rock Lobster on repeat.
Love Shack?
No, just Rock Lobster.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
crashed on the beach. Everybody had matching conveyor belts. Somebody dug into a rock, and then they made 100 smelters.
It's just like the real thing.
Don't know if I regret doing that immediately.
I think it's pretty clear that we like this game. Granted, some more than others. I clearly fucking love this thing. This thing is absolutely becoming a mainstay on my Steam Deck. And if I'm gonna go to the specs of this game just to give you an idea of what this runs on.
It runs basically anything 1050 up.
Yeah.
It'll run on a Radeon 570.
Yeah.
Which is an old ass piece of tech.
Well, that's on the recommended spec.
Yeah, I saw a 570 though in CEX the other day for £40.
Yeah. On top of that, like we said, it's on the Switch. It runs amazingly on the Steam Deck.
Do we know how it
It's-
runs on the Switch?
But the Metacritic scores for that are about a 73.
Okay.
So I would assume pretty good for the most part. But obviously, when your factories start getting really complicated, it's probably going to struggle a bit there.
I
feel
just
like
can't imagine trying to look at it on that small screen on a Switch.
no.
Well,
But I
like,
also think
Steam-
that the interaction with the community is much harder when you're on the Switch, and
Oh,
Tim
totally.
gets like a lot of blueprints and stuff for factories from the internet, and don't know. I just feel like that'd be really hard on a Switch.
It probably
Switch
would.
isn't
Like,
my favorite console anyway, but
no, like this is very much a PC game in my opinion.
aye,
Aye.
Hey,
aye.
Should we get into scores and thoughts?
can I give you a couple of interesting facts I found first?
For
Give us some
Factorio.
Factorios.
Some factorials, yeah. So the first one relates to a gentleman called Tobias Lutke, something like that. He is the founder of the commerce app Shopify,
Yep.
and he lets his staff write off their purchase of Factorio as a business expense.
I need to work for Shopify.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't find anything verifying it, but it was on the Wikipedia page with a citation, so it's got to be
Wow.
true. I don't understand why. I don't know if it's because he started playing it and went, "This game is crack. Everyone must have." But yeah, and then the second one, and this is much more interesting to me. There is a
Sorry. Before
Go.
you get into that, it was on a podcast called Invest Like the Best, where they interviewed Toby Lutke, and he said it's a video game that everyone at Shopify can expense because it's so applicable to the business world. It helps improve your thinking on a mass level.
Which I mean, he's not wrong.
Sorry.
Then no, go. It's quite all right. So the second one, there's a species of scorpion that has been discovered in Somaliland, named the Neobuthus factorio. Excuse me. It was discovered by one gentleman called František Kovarik, who is actually the father of the lead game developer.
Wow.
So
I
this
thought you were
man,
gonna
this
say-
man found a scorpion and went, "I'm going to name that after my son's game." Now, if that isn't a legacy, I don't know what is.
That's
I thought
awesome.
you were going to say the man who found the scorpion is the co-owner of Shopify.
And he doesn't want to write it off as a business expense.
So he just sends you scorpions in the post.
So,
Some of the insane
scores.
builds on Factorio.
Oh no.
Because we've mentioned blueprints, we should probably clear up what those are. Blueprints are essentially where someone in the community has made a thing and said, "I found this works really, really well. I want to share it with people so they can use it in their factory." And it uploads just a string of text, essentially, just a long string of numbers, letters, punctuation, all sorts of stuff. And then you can just copy and paste that into your game and have the thing that they have built. I'm just going to send you guys a copy of this guy's railway crossing that he's built.
Oh,
That
wow.
looks like a computer chip.
It looks like a computer chip. And I suppose
That's
that's
very
probably
cool.
I suppose that's a really good way of describing this game. It's a bit like understanding the inner machinations of a computer. If you were to build everything from scratch, like you're essentially just building one giant machine.
Yeah.
It's
But the
interesting.
machine is a factory that also digs for resources and feeds itself.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. All right, shall we get to scores and thoughts?
Yes, we should. Go on, Tim.
I love this game. I love it. It's a total time sink. I don't know when I bought this. Everything before Factorio is now a blur to me.
Tim calls time. We're now in the year 0 AF.
It's
Everything
BF
before
and
that
AF.
Yeah. To give you an idea though, in my single player save, I have already put 87.5 hours
Oh.
just building one factory in my save.
What?
Because it's It's logistics, and I like logistics. It's fun, but I am only scratching the surface of what people will do in this game. If you want to see some really, really, really clever people not putting their time to the best of use, go check out the Factorio subreddit.
They're
Or
all ex-employees of Shopify.
they might be
Yeah.
current employees of Shopify.
They could well be.
Mm.
I'm absolutely recommending this. Really to anyone and everyone. Just because it's accessible. You can play it how you like. In so many ways, you can turn off enemies. You can have a world full of enemies. You can have minimal resources. You can have a lot of resources. You can have starting items. You can have nothing. It's however you want to play it. I am going to give this game like a 9 out of 10. I think. Highly
Okay.
recommend.
Excuse me. Shall I go next, Alex?
Yeah, go for it.
So I echo a lot of what Tim says. This game is accessible, and you can play it how you like. It's easy to pick up and easy to get on with. And if you give it enough time, there's a high chance you'll get really, really good at it. What I would say about this game, which put me off initially, is that the price point of this game, it's always full price.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen it in a sale.
I've never seen it go on
The
sale.
developers have said that it's never going in a sale.
So £30, whatever that is in dollars, maybe $40, is quite a high price point, but don't let that put you off, because if you do start playing it and it ticks with you, like Tim, it will be an addiction and you will get your money's worth out of this. So I think because of the fact that it's never going in a sale, it's hard to hold it against it. But I do think that the high price point, I've seen it before and been put off with the fact that it's so expensive for an indie game, essentially. I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend.
Can I say as well, in terms of addiction, Joey and I have both had dreams about Factorio.
Oh, yeah, we have.
I once woke Payne up by talking in my sleep about factory placement.
So if that doesn't put you on a game, nothing will.
No.
Do you
This
want to
game
wake
is-
up your other half talking about the location of your steam pumps? Factorio's for you.
It's
Imagine that on the game box. That's just I woke my wife up.
I would absolutely love to get into I would love to have a server hosted for this game on our Discord for anyone who happens to play. And then people could just drop in and drop out. We'd have a big chat about Factorio and be like, who the fuck made a fish farm in the middle of my factory or something?
And it'll just be Joey snickering in the corner, just like.
I think the last time we made this, Joey, we didn't check our fish farm last time we were. Last time we played.
Oh, well, let's log on after this and do it.
Don't say that to him because he'll be on all night.
We're on all night, and
So
I've got
the
something
joke
else
was-
to work on.
The fish farm was a robotic arm that was set up next to a lake, next to a storage box. And the idea is when a fish goes past, it just grabs it out of the water and puts it in the box. It's like no-braining a fish strategy.
Yeah. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, there's not really anything I can add that hasn't already been said. This game took over all of our lives for a good couple of weeks when because obviously we planned these quite far in advance, and I think we might have planned to do Factorio. I think it might have been around November when we started saying it, and then for about 2 weeks it was just nothing but the factory must grow. I did, like I said, in the multiplayer, when we were doing cooperative multiplayer, I found myself getting a bit bored. But when we went over to competitive multiplayer, much better time. It's definitely a recommend. I think I'm going to mirror Joey here on an 8. Just because, like you said, primarily the price point doesn't help it. The fact that it'll never go on sale doesn't help. But this is a solid game. It's one of those. It's another one of those games that proves that indie devs do it better than the AAA devs.
Yeah.
Yep. They're not led by a
And
market. They're led by what they want to play.
Yeah, some developers went, I want to play a game where I make a factory in straight lines. And they went, right, let's do it. And they did it. And like you said, the fact that crowdfunding campaigns for video games, especially from indie developers who have no prior projects and no prior history in the games industry, don't tend to land very well. This one exceeded its goal, which shows that even back in 2013, 12 years ago, this game was up there.
And it's
And
still
that-
going. It's still getting updates.
It's still going. Yeah, I mean, all you've got to do is look at the fact that the DLC came out 3 months ago, and that tells you how much work they're still putting into this. That gives it 3 very big recommends. That gives it an 8.3 recurring score, which I think sounds fair. Tim's probably angry that it's not a 10, but
The recurring
efficient.
3 is not efficient.
We've not rounded the number. It's not efficient.
sorry, it's an 8.3.
It's too low. It's not rounded up. Make it a 9. God, pump the numbers out.
Oh dear. Joey, you're next up on the docket for
Yeah,
the main line.
Yeah, but my court order is in a few minutes, so I really must get going.
I must go.
Next time, we are lining up our episode to be with the release of the newest game in the series. We're going to play Monster Hunter Worlds right before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. So join us there.
Hunter.
We're having a
We
big
might
old
also
Monster Hunter
watch-
week.
Might also watch some Monster Hunter movies, which I'm less excited about.
We'll see how that one turns out.
Yeah, we've
know.
definitely not recorded that
We
weeks
recorded
ago.
that about 2 weeks ago. Spoiler, it's not good. So, yeah, join us in 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? I can't remember.
2 weeks, give or take, yeah.
2 weeks. Well, it's definitely 2 weeks or not. So in 2 weeks or not. See you in 2
See you
weeks
there.
or not.
Who knows?
Or not. Everything's blurry. I think I'm having a stroke. Bye.
Like and subscribe. You'll find us.
Goodbye. Where's the stop? I do this every time.